What's up, YouTube? My name is Big Ray, and this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show, coming to you live from the locker room here in New York City. Now, this is a totally opinion-based show. I'm a big wrestling fan. I would like to hear and video responses from you guys. Later on, I'll tell you how to contact me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Yahoo. But right now, let's jump into my top five wrestlers to not win the WWE/WWF Heavyweight Championship. And my number 5 is the Ravishing Rick Rude. I think Ravishing Rick Rude had a fantastic look. I think he was excellent on the mic. I think he got an amazing amount of heat from the fans. I don't know if you remember the storyline where he tried to sexually assault, basically, Jake the Thing Roberts' wife. And that was really intense. I just think that he lacked a little size. I don't know if there were other backstage politics. I don't know if he was a douchebag and was, trying to bang McMahon's wife or something like that. But the fact of the matter is that this guy was, he was a great worker, and I would like to have seen him at least have a short run as the World Heavyweight Champion. He's my number 5. Oh, and by the way, he had possibly one of the best managers in Bobby the Brain Heenan. So my number 4, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, marketability-wise, was... forget about it. This guy was the martial artist from Hawaii. He was probably the best seller in the business. What I mean by seller is, I mean this guy, when you punched him, it looked like it hurt. When he was slammed on the mat, it looked like it really hurt. This guy had a fantastic feud with Macho Man Randy Savage in the best match of all time. We can get into that another day, WrestleMania 3. But I remember when Macho Man jumped off the top rope and hit him with the ring bell in his throat, and I as a kid almost cried. I thought the guy was really dying. I thought he was really choking. I mean, this guy was fantastic. And marketability-wise, again, I remember him doing TV shows, and I remember he did this show Sidekicks, which was like a martial arts show with this little kid. I've got his name, but I think ring-wise, he was a decent talker. But, it depended, I guess, on the storyline, but I think Ricky the Dragon Steamboat would have made a great champion. I mean, he did win the WCW championship. He had a short run there, but and I heard in DVD interviews that he actually was offered a run at the World Heavyweight Championship, but because he was a real family man, he just didn't feel like that he would be able to take up the workload. But again, my number 4 guy is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Now, my number 3 guy is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. This guy, I would have loved to have seen as a heel. I remember when what was it, Andre the Giant, when Andre the Giant defeated Hulk Hogan, and they had the whole thing where it was Dave Hebner and Earl Hebner, the two twins. Hulk Hogan's like, "Oh brother, I don't know how much you paid for the plastic surgery to change his face." Blah, blah. I can't really do Hulk Hogan, but I think he was a great heel. I remember the little kid getting on stage and trying to dribble the basketball 10 times, and when the kid got to number 9, he kicked the ball. I mean, this guy used to get immense heat. I mean, ridiculous heat from the fans. He was a jerk. He was a douche. But he was a great character. In-ring worker, I think he was on point with some of the best of all time. His finisher was fantastic. He had the $1 Million Dream, and it was a very famous finisher, basically the Cobra Clutch. But I think he was also probably one of the top 5 talkers of all time, really. And marketability-wise, I mean, the guy had the $1 Million belt. Back then, they didn't make the replica belts, but I'm sure that it still makes money today. I think $1 Million Man would have been a great heel, and I wish they would have made up a storyline where Ted DiBiase actually paid off the president, Jack Tunney, and he was able to keep the belt. And he would just continue to pay off referees and the president, and they would fire the president. Maybe they would hire another president who would pay him off and hold the belt for a nice long title run. I think he could have held the belt for a while. But again, that was during the time of Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon's monsters. Again, I don't think he had the size to that pleased Vince McMahon. Pause. But I think he was. I think he would have been a great, fantastic heavyweight champion. I would like to have seen that. Let's get into my number 2. My number 1 and my number 2 really gave me a hard time. There were two things. There was one thing actually that separated the two, and here we go. My number 2, and I think this guy is the best talker of all time. This guy helped issue in the rock and wrestling era, and obviously you know who this is. This is Roddy Piper. who I think was the best talker in the business, period. Roddy Piper knew how to draw heat, and he was one of the first heels, bad guys I remember actually where fans were actually cheering for him. They used to have the Hot Rod T-shirts, and I remember I think he actually pinned Hulk Hogan clean in the match. You can hit me up in the video response or just let me know if that's true, but I think he pinned Hulk Hogan cleanly in the match. It was a non-title match, but I think he pinned Hulk Hogan during Hulk Hogan's run as a champion. But Roddy Piper had brought helped bring the WWF into fruition back in the day, and I think he's probably, man, he's one of the most underrated superstars of all time. I mean, in ring, he was more of a brawler, but I think he was very good at what he did. Again, he was one of the greatest on the mics. He had a great manager / bodyguard, and I forgot to mention Virgil with Ted DiBiase. Virgil was a nice little bodyguard, but this was Cowboy Bob Orton. You could tell they had a great relationship outside and inside the ring. I think he was. I think he could have made a run either as a baby face later on or as a heel. I think as a heel, I think he would have been a great heavyweight champion. I think they could have made a lot of money with him. But again, they were really focused on having Hulk Hogan with the title, so Roddy Piper didn't make it. And my number one guy, I think the thing that separated him and Roddy Piper is his in-ring ability. I think as a talker, I think he was almost on par with him, just about there. But I think his in-ring ability was absolutely perfect. And if you think you know who I'm talking about, it is Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig. I think he had the look. I think he was a decent-sized guy, but he moved around the ring perfectly. He talked perfectly. He had the perfect manager in Bobby the Brain Heenan. Talking about his in-ring work, they still talk about when guys take really good bumps and really sell something. Basically, they compare it to Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig. And his vignettes when he was playing basketball and football. I watched the DVDs and they said that was really him. He really sold his character, and I thought even as a babyface, they might have been able to have a short run with him. But as a heel, I think this guy would have been fantastic. Either with Bobby Heenan or that goofy coach guy that he used to run around with. You have to remember when Ric Flair came in. Ric Flair, who he won the title, and who was there with him? It was Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect, if you don't think he's one of the greatest superstars of all time, I think you're on crack. Sorry to tell you. But Mr. Perfect is my number one. And again, maybe, this is opinion-based. I just wanted to honorably mention one guy, and it's obviously the brother of Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart. I don't know what he would have been. I think he was getting to near to the top of his game. His in-ring ability was you're gonna kill me for this, but I think he was better than his brother. To be honest with you, on the mic he was getting there, but I think he was a world champion in the making. I would like to kind of see what would have happened if he would have won the championship. He didn't die so tragically. But anyway, again, those are my top five. Number 5, Rick Rude. Number 4, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Number 3, Ted DiBiase. Number 2, Roddy Piper. And number 1, Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig. Please send me a video. Respond to me in a video. Send me an email. I would like to know what you guys think. Again, this is totally opinion-based. I really love to hear from you guys. And tell your friends, please subscribe. Subscribe. This is my dream. I would love to do this for a living. But if I can't, I'd love to do it anyway because I love talking wrestling. So again, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. You can get me at Big Ray's Wrestling Show at yahoo.com. Big Ray's Wrestling Show on Twitter. And you can get me, if you can find me on Facebook, it's Ray Hernandez 23, Facebook.com. Again, guys, I love wrestling. I want to hear from the marks. I want to hear from people who grew up wrestling fans. And let's talk some wrestling. And I hope you enjoyed this show. And the next episode is going to be about the 1000th episode of Raw. I hope you enjoy. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's do this, baby. Big Ray's Wrestling Show.